Second thing in that black box, an unrelenting stream of immigration, non-stop. Fewer than 50% of the people in America from then and on will be white European stock. That's not a bad thing. That's a source of our strength.
That says California trusts women. It will provide that funds that are accumulated will be used to California's family planning program in order to assist in filling.
Hello, good people. It's Rob Lee. So after looking at that, you can kind of see what this video is about, or maybe you can't. But what we're going to do here, brother, we're going to have a moment of truth. And we're going to dive deep into something that I've been wanting to get back into for a while. And that's the great flood of Revelation 12 that very few people teach, very few people talk about, because most people have no idea what it is, or they lie about it. And I'm going to show you why they lie about it, and we're going to go deep into it, and I hope that you will learn something from it. It does not matter who you are, what you believe, you can learn something from it. Our people have been in bondage for a long time now. In the past 30 years, our people have been in spiritual and mental bondage. They're slaves, and they just don't know it. And they're always trying to break free, and they're complaining and they're talking, but they never understand that there's only one tool that will break them free. And they just don't seem to grasp that. For an enemy to take you over, they have to start with the women and the children. This is imperative. You got to start with the women and the children. And I want to read something to you here. Babylon, the synagogue of Satan, has destroyed so many young women, and they and their father have sought to destroy the women Israel from the fall. Using a massive propaganda campaign, young and vulnerable women, they have reduced so many young women to lives of shame and ruin for the way they look, talk, walk, and the clothes on their back. And I'll tell you why they do this. They mock and laugh at the very people they envy. You see, Babylonians can never be Israelites. You see, to be a Babylonian means you are a child of the devil. You can't be a child of the devil and a child of Almighty God at the same time. Now, you won't hear this taught in church. The things that we talk about on this channel, they'll never talk about in church, because they're pro the state of Israel, not the Israelites. And there's a huge difference. You see, the people in the state of Israel are not the Israelites of the Bible, and it's becoming more and more known now. But now they're trying to cover that up. They're trying to come through a window. Babylon wants to be true Israel, and it'll never happen. They use movies, politics, media, and the internet to convince our women how unattractive they are. And this leads our young women to growing up with self-esteem issues. And when your self-esteem is messed up, you tend to gravitate toward anybody that will accept you. This is what happens. No one, it seems though, man or woman, it doesn't matter your color or your persuasion, nobody seems to be content with how the Father made them. They want to be something different. And this is an ancient ploy of the Babylonian merchants, the devils who peddle self-doubt because of their hidden inferiority complex, the pathetic victims known as the children of Cain. They killed Jesus because they were inferior to him, and they damn well knew it. And they seek to destroy us because they hate who you truly are. Dear people, you are richer than all the lottery winners combined. You are the children of the inheritance of the true Father. That's who you really are. That's who you really are. Your Father knew how you would look before you took your first breath. It is your Father that calls you beautiful and wonderfully made. On this channel, I have shown you the serpents, and I'm going to show them to you again in this video. We're going to go deep into a truth. I've shown you their true form. They are cursed. And this goes back to Genesis 3. Be content with how you are, and remember it came from the Father. I'm telling you, you should take care of your body, because your body is the temple. You shouldn't smoke, you shouldn't drink, you shouldn't do dope. You should try to take care of your body the best you can, but be content with what God gave you. Never let the children of Cain convince you through their control of movies, television, the media, internet, and commerce that you need to improve your physical appearance. Our Father makes no mistakes. You see, part of the problem, a big part of the problem, is that our people have become complacent and ignorant. That's just the truth. When a video like this, an epic rap battle, 50 million views between an epic rap battle of Steven Spielberg and Alfred Hitchcock. You see, white people, and I'm talking to white people, you have become the most dumbest, naive people walking God's earth. You have, man. You've lost it. Now, not all white people are God's children. Contrary to what some people actually teach, that's a lie. It's a lie from hell. But many of you are, and many of them have lost their way bad. Also, we must take into account that the people have been given a chemical lobotomy. They have been induced, they have been seduced and induced, and they have been filled with poisons for the past 5 or 6 decades. And the food, the air, the water, the clothes, chemtrails, everything that you eat, everything is constant. To dumb down the mind to where you lose your critical thinking skills. You cannot think critically. And also, it sickens you. So you can run to the hospital and get some big pharma medicine. Or they can kill you. Because that's the idea. That's what you're going to see. What was foretold. What was foretold thousands of years ago is coming to place. It's coming to place now. Before we go further, I would be remiss if I did not give a word of thanks, and I will be giving more of it, to our brother Lyman, who finished, I don't know if the man is finished or not, I haven't checked my emails, and you guys know I'm notoriously bad for checking my emails, theflockofjesus.com. He built a wonderful site. It's beautiful. If you haven't been there, I suggest you go there and check it out. I have hundreds of articles, 1,000 articles, and I want you to be involved. That I would like to put on the website. If you have any music, if you have any writings, if you have something that you would like to add to it, get with me. I would like it to be a community project, not just me, because I'm not your teacher, I'm not your preacher, I'm not your guru. I'm your brother. And I'm your brother that's willing to walk out front and face the enemy and take a sword and tell them, let's hit it and get it. I just am. And I don't mean that physically necessarily, spiritually too. Somebody has to go out front and say, let's roll if we have to roll. And if that means to death, then let it be to death. There's the website, and you can go and check it out. And I don't know exactly what Brother Lyman did, but I want to thank you, brother. Thank you. In the name of Jesus, thank you, man. It means a lot to me, and I hope that it will glorify Jesus Christ, and the folks will have a place to go and to chat and to gather and to worship. Let's move on. So in talking about the great flood of Revelation 12, we need to go back to the Gospel of Matthew in chapter 13, talking about the wheat and the tares, because that's where it stems from. In the parable of the wheat and the tares, and I just did a video about it, Jesus made it clear that we live among a family of devils. And these demonic beings and spirits are not lizards. They're not reptiles. They're not aliens from a far-off made-up planet or science fiction fantasy. This is reality and truth. And sadly, your ancestors knew the truth, but the folks today, because of the Babylonian propaganda, they have no idea what's going on. None. And if you want to take a people over, you have to keep them ignorant. You got to destroy their morals, and you got to destroy them. You got to destroy who they are. Now, we're going to talk about the flood of Revelation 12, and it's not a physical flood, man. It's a flood of people, and I will prove that to you. Without any question of a doubt, I will prove it to you. It is a flood of people, as the Bible taught. And what this flood is to do, it is a flood of the devil to destroy the Israelites. This is what it really is. This is the truth. Now, some folks may say that it's politically incorrect. I'm not trying to be politically correct. I'm simply telling the truth from God. That's what I'm doing. I'm not trying to be politically correct, and I'm not trying to hate anybody, because I truly don't hate anybody. Many folks try to act like I do. I can't please anybody. I can't please white folks. I can't please black folks. I can't please brown folks, because if you truly try to do the work of Jesus Christ, man, everybody from every race, from every belief is going to eventually dislike you, except for the few brothers and sisters that believe what you believe. You see, to the black people, I'm racist. To the brown people, I'm racist. To the hardcore white people, I'm not pro-white enough. You see, you can't win when you simply tell the truth. I want to read something to you, because this is critical to what we're going to learn here. I just want to read it to you, because I'll have to read it because the volume is down, all right? What is the goal? It's going to be controversial. The goal is to meet the challenge of racial interbreeding. The challenge of racial interbreeding that faces us in the 21st century. It's not a choice, it's an obligation. It's imperative. We cannot do otherwise. we risk finding ourselves confronted with major problems. Now that is Nicolas Sarkozy, folks, in 2009, the former French president, saying that his people must racially interbreed with other people. Now he said that to the French people, most of them who are white. And then he says if this volunteerism does not work, that the state will move in with more powerful measures to make them do it. But then he tells the Arabs just the opposite. You see, he tells them they should never do it. Now this is part of the great flood of Revelation chapter 12. Now your pastor, your professor, or the lying serpents on YouTube, they will not teach this, man. They will not touch it. In fact, they will make up something and tell you it's just the opposite, because they are cowards. That's what they are, cowards. All right? They are cowards and they are liars. I want to read something else to you. This is from Antonio Gramsci. And he is a Babylonian devil, you can tell by his countenance. Socialism is precisely the religion that must overwhelm Christianity. In the new order, socialism will triumph by first capturing the culture via infiltration of the schools, universities, churches, and the media by transforming the consciousness of society. How incredibly true. Now let's talk about the flood of Revelation 12. No, not that kind of flood. And that shows you how naive folks are. Many folks actually believe it's a physical flood. It's a flood of people. Sadly, though, on the internet, naive people, dangerous people who work for the state of Israel and work for the Freemasons, they work for liars. They will tell you, back in September 23rd, 2017, those of you who have followed my channel know that I made a video exposing the great lie that they did 2 years ago about this eclipse. And they actually had the nerve to say that Revelation, this great flood of Revelation 12, 1 and 2, was a great wonder in heaven. It shows you how incredibly naive folks are. And folks believed it. Nothing happened. And nothing happened in the heavens either, because it's already happened. And again, this man right here, understanding Revelation chapter 12, I wouldn't trust him in an outhouse with a muzzle on, period. And he says, if you want to know more about prophecy, visit www.jerusalemprophecycollege.com. Why would I want to visit anything that has to do with the people that have been sought out to kill me, my family, the rest of my brothers and sisters, that Jesus Christ called Mystery Babylon, the ones that killed Jesus Christ? Why in the hell would I seek them out for knowledge? See, because he works for them. He works for the star. He works for the star. What star? Well, I'm talking about the six-pointed star. This star, this mark that our Father hates. He hates it. And for all of you who want to defend the star, let me ask you something, man. When you defend the star, can you do it from the Bible? I know you can do it because you want to side with evil, but can you defend it from the Bible? Can you say it's really the Star of David? Prove it to me. Prove it to me. Don't give me your gut win. Prove it to me. Open up the Bible and prove it to me, because I can prove to you what God says it is. What is the star that our Father hates? It's called the tabernacle of Moloch, the devil, and the god, little g, Remphan. Amos 5:26. You see, I can prove mine, but can you prove yours? But ye have borne the tabernacle of your Moloch, and hewn your images, the star of your God, which ye made to yourselves. Acts 7:3. Yea, ye took up the tabernacle of Moloch and the star of your God, Remphan. It's the star of the devil. Is it possible that a star, an image, could be so powerful that it cannot and will not be criticized? People will defend that star. People will walk into a church and tell you they love Jesus, but they will defend that mark more than they would ever defend Jesus Christ. They will defend the state of Israel, and they will take a dump on Jesus Christ. I hate to put it like that, but it's God's honest truth. Then out of one side of their mouth, they will tell you how much they love Jesus. You see, friends, this is what has censored me. This is what has tried to come against me. It's because I have had the audacity to speak up against the evil of this world. What you have, the people who defend this, are the people at the churches and on the illusionists, the video makers on YouTube, the liars who gather around the table for scraps. That's what they do. They gather around the table for scraps. These are the people that work nonstop for that mark that we just looked at. They are illusionists. They are magicians. They're all over YouTube, and I had it out with the sister 2 weeks ago, and I don't want anything to do with her. Now, if you're listening, I know you're still coming to the channel and you're leaving a heart after what you did, ma'am, I just don't want, ma'am, I don't want anything to do with you at this point. There was a bad spirit in you. Something was really wrong with you. For you to believe that anti-Semitism is the same as anti-Christianity shows you how lost you are. Those are the ones, the so-called Semites, even though they're not really Semites. I'm the Semite lady. And those people that call themselves Semites, they're the ones who create the anti-Christianity. How dare you put them in the same breath? How dare you? But you can keep doing it. And then talk about Damascus is going to be in ruinous heaps. It's already happened, lady. See, you're watching too many YouTube videos. You're getting your information from people like him and people like him. The internet trolls and the vast majority of YouTube channels work for the beast that is trying to destroy them. And sadly, most folks will go and watch the videos of these monsters, believing that they're garnering some sort of special knowledge, when all they're doing is going and watching the same son of a guns that are working for the people that are trying to kill them. This is the truth. It's deception and ignorance on a scale that cannot be matched. You walk into any Christian bookstore, and you look on any wall, and you will see a plethora of lie after lie after lie after lie. It doesn't matter. The idea is to keep people just like this, lost in a maze. And because of their pride and because of their ignorance, they will not ever ask for help out. So they will spend the rest of their life lost in the Babylonian maze with their arms folded, prideful. They believe they actually know the truth. Too ignorant and too stupid and too prideful to go look in the mirror and say, I'm lost and I need help. You will not find the truth that we're going to talk about in the churches, the American New World Order. You simply will not find it. These are the people that work for the six-pointed star. All of them, every single one of them, including your president, a Babylonian banker, Osteen, it doesn't matter, the Pope, all of them, Kenneth Copeland, they all work for the six-pointed star. Their whole agenda is, do not say anything against the state of Israel. We must prop them up above all, not prop up Jesus Christ. If these monsters had any kind of love for you, they would call out the ones who have been trying to kill you for 2,000 years. You see, Judaism and Catholicism have been the greatest enemies of Christianity in the past 2,000 years. This is the truth. And all these monsters keep our people like cattle, mooing along. Not moving, but mooing along. That's what they do. Sadly, and I say very sadly, they have done it to our children. You see, this is a cartoon. I did this a couple years ago when I did a video about the Illuminati. Now, the Illuminati are not really the Illuminati. They're not the illuminated ones. The Bible actually says we are the children of light. We are the illuminated ones. But you see, like words like globalist. Glow means to light. Baal is in the devil. Baal is another name for the devil. So they call themselves globalist. There is no such thing as a globe, man. I don't know what shape the earth is. Quite frankly, I don't care. It's not a globe. You see, they call them glow as in light, Baal the devil, children of the devil, the light of the devil, just like the word elite. E-L is another word for God, but not our God, their God, light. See, God of light, it's their God of light. The pyramid is the beast system, and the eye is the devil, Satan, serpent. He has a name. In the Old Testament, it's Abaddon. In the New Testament, it's Apollyon. So we have the sheep, our precious children, following the devil. And nobody cares, nobody wants to hear, nobody wants it. Because even if you show a mom or a dad the truth, that their little boy or girl is following the devil, they simply do not give a damn. Why? Because they're complicit in the lie. And that's why I told you, I will not be complicit in the lie, lest I stand before my maker and say I was a part of the lie. I will not do it. I would rather die first. Again, it goes back to the six-pointed star. That's what it goes back to. That's what it is. And most folks, when it's all said and done, are going to have to face their maker. And they're going to have to realize they walked with the devil the entire time. Our people are continually sitting in front of a theater, watching it go by, flat on their rumps, watching it go by and serving the devil. That's the truth of it. Speaking of Babylon, I want to show you something here because most folks don't understand. When I say something to you about Babylon, this is what I'm doing. And I just want to put this in. I'll try to do it quickly. Our people went into hostage 3 times. We went into ancient Egypt thousands of years ago, and around 2,760 years ago, our people went into Assyria. The northern 10 tribes went into Assyria in bondage because we were being punished. The lower two tribes of Judah and Benjamin, they went into Babylon hostage because the father said, you have misbehaved, you are going to be taken captive. When the father, because he promised that he would let his children go home, the book of the Bible tells us that the devil's children joined themselves to our people. They followed them back home. This is why Jesus came for the lost sheep of the house of Israel. Now, most of the Israelites had already gone. They were in North Africa. They were even in northern India. They were on the Asian steppes. They were in Russia. They were in Europe, Eastern Europe, Western Europe. They were in Scandinavia. They were waiting to do what the Father had said that they would do. They would spread out to all corners of the earth. It's important as we go further in this study that we go back to Genesis 3:14, and there's a couple words that I want you to mark down as we go forward because you're going to need to remember them. If you don't understand Genesis 3:14 and 15, that it's not spiritual, that it's actual physical, you'll never really be able to understand what's really being done in the Bible. Now, I'm hardly a Bible expert, not by any stretch. But I think you have to understand Genesis 3:14 and 15 if you're to go forward. So let's read, shall we? And the Lord God said unto the serpent. Now we're going to read a whole lot about the serpent. Because thou hast done this, and this is because the serpent has came and beguiled Eve. Now I've told you what I thought that he did with her. The Bible makes it incredibly clear. Because thou hast done this, thou art cursed above all cattle and above every beast of the field. Upon thy belly shalt thou go, and dust shalt thou eat all the days of thy life. 15, and I will put enmity, which is hatred, between thee and the woman. It's key there. Now, let's pay attention. Enmity is hatred, and thee, he's talking about the serpent, and the woman is talking about your people, Eve, because she was to be the mother of the Israelites. And between thy seed and her seed, he's talking about he would put hatred between them. And it shall bruise thy head, and thou shalt bruise his heel. This is talking about Jesus Christ shall bruise the head of the devil, which is a fatal wound. And they shall bruise his heel, because they killed Jesus Christ. But they did not kill Jesus Christ, they just killed the body. And they will do the same to many of us, but they cannot have the spirit. The spirit is yours, baby. It's yours. They can't have that. So don't fear them. The worst they can do is kill you. So what? So what? Tell them to hit it and get it. Let's go. Now, let's look at just a few more of the charlatans, and we'll see how all this plays out. This is Tommy Robinson. He's a big hero over in the UK. He speaks out for the poor man. He speaks out for those who are trying to take over his country. His real name is Stephen Lennon, and he works for the people that have been taking over your country. He works for the bankers. Look at his shirt. Yes, indeed. But white people will follow him before they will follow Jesus, man. They will. It's a fact. In fact, he's got more followers right now, him and Alex Jones, than Jesus does in the UK. You better believe it. Martin Schultz. For me, the new Germany exists only in order to ensure the existence of the state of Israel and the Jewish people. So all those Israelites in Germany, they only exist, according to Martin Schultz. So the state of Israel and the Jewish people so that they may thrive. Interesting. Now, you're going to understand why I'm doing all this as we actually start reading about the flood. David Brooks, read what he has to say. Read what he has to say. Heiko Maas, the draconian anti-speech laws that have been passed in Germany. A sister on this channel cannot even comment anymore. You see, the devil does not want you to criticize them because they are afraid that you might see them for what they are. You pull that mask off and you start to see you guys are imposters. You're the lowest of the low. You're imposters, man. You're not God's favorite. You're not God's chosen. You're the damn children of the devil. These are the same people that brought you the Soviet concentration camps in 1917, what's called the Bolshevik Revolution, when they killed 25 to 30 million people, maybe more. Nobody knows the real amount. They worked some of them to death till their clothes fell off, man. They burned down all the churches. They burned up the Bibles. They burned up the books. These are the same people that put aborted fetus cells in some of your food and the drink. Hollywood with a 24/7 IV of filth and propaganda to make you look bad and to tell you lie after lie and to captivate your poor mind. You see, that's what entertainment is. It's a Latin word. Enter, te, ain, ment. It means enter the mind. Ment means mind. Just as govern means stare, then ment means mind. Stare the mind. It's about mind control. And they have their workers that work nonstop. Again, the six-pointed star, that do nothing to promote hate and propaganda toward one people. It's all over YouTube constantly. You will see them with slits in the eyes, doing nothing but spewing propaganda. And to think some people actually come to me and want to tell me, go watch this video. Man, you go watch your own video, man. I'm going to let Jesus lead me to where he says to go. I don't watch liars. I don't want to watch devils, man. I have no desire to do so. More lies and propaganda to make white people look bad. This story was a lie by David Pakman. He's a Babylonian. Shock claim, U.S. soldiers rape boys in front of their mothers. Notice the 303. You think that's an accident? Not hardly, people. That's their calling card. I will show you that more. Again, it keeps the hate going. You got to have that hatred. You got to have the hate all across this country. They thrive on it. The devil needs hate. Free abortion on demand without apology. Without apology to our people, to our children. No regard for children, none. Not a regard for a child, none. That's where we're at. And they are funded. Everything that we just looked at, they're funded by follow the money, the Federal Reserve, 1913. And they own it all, so they can control you. And the idea is to do away with you. However, there is a surprise. God said it would never happen. We will get to that. They want you to be quiet. They want to keep you in chains, that you cannot speak, that you cannot talk, and they want to scare you with jail or imprisonment or fines. Don't you dare be afraid. Don't you dare be afraid. The worst they can do is kill you. Hit it and get it. Let's roll. They want to keep the woman afraid. Let me tell you something. You'll find out that these people are some of the biggest cowards that you would ever come across. They want you to be quiet. They want you to be quiet and keep your mouth shut. They want the woman, and we're going to read and learn who the woman is. They want the woman to be quiet. Take the genocide that we're trying to give you, and take the pain that we're trying to inflict upon you, and then be quiet. And then if you do speak up, they will criticize you for speaking up when they're trying to kill you. If you try to defend yourself or defend others or defend children, they will try to tell you how bad you are for speaking up, that you do not want to be slaughtered, that you see the wrongs and the ills of this world. This is why we have a police state. They created it for you, to control you. This is why it's done. This is why the police look like the military. Now, we're going to talk about the flood, all right? The flood. And this is reality. These are the people that have come to all the countries. Many of them look just like this. Okay? They're cheesing, they're having a good time, they're taking pictures. This is what it is. Corporations bring people like this to your countries. They do not bring themselves, folks. These 15 men did not get on a boat and bring themselves. It's been done by droves, and it took big money. And it started with bankers, and it was propped up by churches, social media, Hollywood, the musical industry, society, television. They propped it up. You see, this is where we are really at. It's propaganda. Anti-white propaganda. That's what it is. Weaponized words, you see. That if you say something that they deem is wrong, they can call you a name, and that's supposed to scare you down to where you cannot say anything. You see, they call me a name and I'm a bad person. I'm a bad person for doing what? Telling the truth? Is that what I'm a bad person for? I want to, before we get into something, I want to show you something before we get deeper into the flood. Many folks right now, there's a mass movement to talk about who are the Jews, who are the real God's chosen people, and it's all over the internet, man. Back and forth, back and forth. And for example, we have this guy here. He says Jesus was black, undeniable proof. He's got 500,000 views, probably more since then. This is 2012. I'm sure he's got probably millions now. Lots of folks probably watched it and believe it. Notice whatever he's reading has an X on it. I don't know if that's for Malcolm X or the mark of Nimrod. I just want to show you something. Here's Ben Danoon. Who are the real Jews? This is Israeli News Live. And here's a couple of guys. White man admits the Messiah didn't come to save white Israeli fake Jews. All right. Now, lowly me, I did a couple videos, and I went and got this on the website. Thank you, Brother Lyman. And if you will see those two videos to the left, the last day's truth that we need, number one, and undeniable proof, mystery solved. The top video, number one, is that we cannot hate. The bottom video is a 45-minute video that I did, proving without any doubt who the Israelites are. In fact, I would love, see, I'll never get the devil's children to actually debate me. I've been wanting this for a long time. Let's open up the Bible and debate me. Prove me wrong. It cannot. It'll never happen. Trust me, because I've told you, these are some cowardly people, man. These are not bravado type. They don't have that kind of courage. They're the type that'll stab you in the back, and then when you turn around, they'll blame you for doing it. They're the type that'll break into your house, and then when you try to confront them, they'll tell you, "What are you doing confronting me?" You see, the criminal is not the criminal. You see, the victim is not the victim. They've turned it around. If you think that you know who the Israelites are, or if you want to know, watch that video, Powerful Truth, Undeniable Proof, Mystery Solved, without a doubt. Let me give you just a little example before we get into a little bit deeper truth. John chapter 8, the great trap, and ye shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free. I call this the great trap, and this is Jesus talking to the Jews. And the Jews replied, and they answered him, We be Abraham's seed, and were never in bondage to any man. How sayest thou, ye shall be made free? You see, the real, as they like to call the Jews, the Israelites, were in bondage not once, not twice, but 3 times, baby. 3 times. But the Jews have just said, that ain't us. Jesus the Christ is only he can do. Woo, you gotta love Jesus, man. He lured them into it. So they admit, we're not those people, but I can give you 100 more verses that are just as good as that if you watch my video. Now let's go forward. Now we noticed that the black man said that Jesus was black. Well, if you watch my video, the undeniable proof, I'll prove that to you too. I'll give you about 25 verses, but I'm just going to give you just a couple here. Songs of Solomon 5:10. My beloved is white and ruddy, the chiefest among 10,000. Goodness gracious. Well, now, if Jesus, who was born of a earthly woman, Mary, came through the line of Judah, because she most certainly did, and this is Solomon, whose daddy was David, and Jesus came through this line, and they were white, then how can Jesus possibly be black? That's interesting, because Jesus was not black. Does it matter? It doesn't matter to me, but it seems to matter to everybody else. They make it a big deal. The reason they make it a big deal is because the mask is coming off the devil and his children, and they're scared, so they want somebody else to wear the mask. It's incredibly clever. 1 Samuel 17:42. And when the Philistine looked about and saw David, he disdained him, for he was but a youth, and ruddy and of fair countenance. Well, I'm ruddy. Not as fair as I used to be, but that's who I am. That's who many of you are. Kind of disproves the guy's theory about it, doesn't it? Amos 3:2. Of all the families upon the earth, only you have I known. And he also goes on to say, and for this I will punish you for all your iniquities. You see, being an Israelite means you're held to a higher standard of behavior. It doesn't mean that you should walk around thinking that you're special. It means that you should behave better than everybody else. Jesus Christ said to the devil's children, he told them, and he looked right at his own children and says, your righteousness must exceed the righteousness of the Pharisees. Again, go watch the video that I did, and you will see it for yourself. Deuteronomy 32:26. I said I would scatter them into corners. I would make the remembrance of them to cease from among men. It's simple identity theft, folks. That's all. And if your father did not want it to happen, it would not have happened, period. It just wouldn't have happened. The serpent and its children could never take your identity unless our Father allowed it to happen. And I've already made it clear how I feel about other people. I don't hate anybody. I hate evil. There are some good folks, man, all over this earth that are Asian, that are brown, that are black, that come from all walks of life. There are some good folks. And you want to know what? Many of them folks love Jesus Christ. Many of them folks would feed me if I was hungry. Many of them folks would take me in. Why would I hate them? Why would I go against what Jesus Christ taught me to do? The problem is this, brethren, before we get into it. Jesus said, follow me. Most folks are following those 2 marks. They just don't know it. And many of them actually know it, and they follow anyway. You see the strong delusion. You see the great falling away. You see it all taking place. All taking place. I have defended all children of every race. I don't care who they are, man. If any one of these children was before me, I would feed them, clothe them, shelter them, and I would protect them. Not a problem. Not a problem. It's what I should do. The problem is that nobody's defending her. Nobody is defending her. It's as if nobody cares. Well, I care. Jesus Christ cares. The Almighty Father cares. And not all of God's people have become cowards. Not all of us are weak. Some of us, we have something left. See, there is a war on these people. The problem is that they don't know there's a war on them. Or many of them do know there's a war on them. They just quit caring. They're just willing to go along. Even if they have to give up their own children, they'll just go along. They'll go along to the point that they will deny Jesus Christ if it means going along and keeping the peace. They'll just go along. Let's just keep the peace. Now, before we get into this, let me ask you something. If Almighty God said in Psalm 139:14 that you were fearfully and wonderfully made, that he knew everything about you, he knew it, everything. If Almighty God says that we were wonderfully made, saw us before we was born, put us together, every molecule, every cell, and called it beautiful and perfect. Now I ask all you haters, deny this truth. Debate me, I beg you. Debate me, I beg you. Dust off your Bible. Of course, you don't read the Bible, do you? And debate me. Now, before we get into it, I just want you to look at a picture here. Now, I've showed you pictures of Bill Maher with the shirt on, with the dragon eating the baby. The Alfa Romeo, the expensive car, sports car, their emblem is a dragon eating a baby. Even the Beatles and all these music, all going way back, because they have always been anti-you, and most folks that can never come to that next level of understanding. These monsters were anti-Israelites because they are of the spirits of the ones that fell, and I'm going to prove this to you. That's why they have that baby there, and I'll show you what this means. So let's get into it, shall we? Psalm 33:4, for the word of the Lord is right. All his works are done in truth. We don't need to say any more. His word is right, and his works are done in truth. Now, let's get to the flood, and let's learn the truth here. Revelation 17:5 says, and he saith unto me, now this is an angel talking to John, and he saith unto me, the waters which thou sawest where the whore sitteth, and this is Mystery Babylon, where the whore sitteth are peoples, multitudes, nations, and tongues. So there's your proof that the water is what? Not actual H2O, but people, right? People. So we can know it's people. So let's get into it, shall we? Let's go to Revelation chapter 12 and let's learn the truth. And there appeared a great wonder in heaven, a woman clothed with the sun and the moon under her feet, and upon her head a crown of 12 stars. Now remember earlier I showed you somebody doing their little thing in heaven and making up something, and they got millions of views, millions of lies, and more people deceived. The 12 stars, folks, and the woman. This is the Israelite family. The 12 stars are the 12 tribes. And she being with a child cried, travailing in birth and pain to be delivered. Revelation 12, verses 3 and 4. And there appeared another wonder in heaven, and behold, a great red dragon, having 7 heads and 10 horns and 7 crowns upon his heads. These are the great red dragon, the devil, the serpent, Satan. And upon he has these horns and these crowns. These are kings and kingdoms. And his tail drew the third part of the stars of heaven, and did cast them to earth. This is 1/3 of the devils that fell. 33 and 1/3. When you do it correctly mathematically, it's 33 and 1/3. This is why they worship the number 33 and 13. And the dragon stood before the woman which was ready to be delivered, for to devour her child as soon as it was born. Shall we go forward? The meaning behind the colors of red, black, and white, and you will see this throughout the scriptures. We see the 33 and the black and white clothing with the black and white beams. We see the red 33. Why? In the Bible, white is pure. White is light. Red is the color of the dragon, the devil. Black is the opposite of white in Scripture. Devils walk in darkness, black. Red also is symbolic for death. You see, everything is for a reason. And we notice that it says that they tried to kill the child before it was born. When Jesus Christ was a baby, they were trying to kill him before he was born. They knew that he was coming. They knew. Okay? The devils knew Jesus Christ was coming. God was sending one of his own to his own people. and they were trying to kill him. You remember that, how many children were murdered by Herod. What was Herod? He was a Babylonian, worshiping the same mark that they worship now. The same people going into the temple then, following the same lies and deceit that they're following now. And the devils that fell. When you see something like this, and you see this guy, and you see what comes out of his mouth, you see a snake's tongue come out on your right side. A snake tongue, here it comes, right outside of his mouth. I want to ask you, is that not proof? There it is, man. Is that not proof enough for you, what you live among? That the devil has a real family here on this earth. And we've seen them all the time. I've seen them for years now. Slits in the eyes, the ridges in the face, the tongue flicking. I mean, this is reality, man. It's what it really is, and most folks can't handle it. If that's not real enough for you, I don't know what you need. Well, I know what you need. You need Hollywood. You need lies, because the truth is too much for you. Here's the tongue flicking. You see it everywhere with people now. It's the demonic seed. There's the ridges in the face. No, not lines, but ridges. Then the number 33 and 13 everywhere. I've did 2 hours of videos on it. Look on my channel. You can find it. And NBC News, 33 dead, 130 injured in China knife wielding spree. Israel arrests 33 in East Jerusalem over Temple Mount riots, and then on the back page you see that the youngest one of these so-called rioters was 13. You see, they want to mock, ridicule, and erase what our Father created. Let's go on to verse number 5 now. And this woman talking about our family, and she brought forth a man-child who was to rule all nations with a rod of iron, and her child was caught up into God and to his throne. This is Jesus. And he's going to rule them with a rod of iron. He's going to rule all nations with a rod of iron, and you will help him rule. And the woman fled into the wilderness, where she hath a place prepared of God, that they should feed her there 1,260 days. Now, to get into the 1,260, is it days or years? Is it when his father called him into Egypt, when he told Joseph to get up, take the child, because they were trying to kill him? Or is it when the Israelites fled to Europe and they had some peace for a while? I don't know, brethren. I'll let you tell me. Let's move on to number 7. And there was a war in heaven. Michael and his angels fought against the dragon, and the dragon fought and his angels, and prevailed not, neither was their place found any more in heaven. Now let me ask you, we've talked about this a lot. If there was a war in heaven and all these angels could take on the Father, they could take on Jesus. If your Father did not know about it, if these angels all got together, one of them, who people call the devil, if he got together and said, hey, we're going to overthrow God, are you in? What's to say that it couldn't happen again and again and again and again and again? Common sense and spiritual discernment will tell you your Father put everything in motion. Folks don't like hearing this because they've got their own preconceived notion of how it should be. What we think it should be is not how it actually is. If God's not in total control, we're all in a world of trouble, man. Number 9. And the great dragon was cast out, that old serpent called the devil and Satan, which deceiveth the whole world. He was cast out into the earth, and his angels were cast out with him. Where did they go? Right here. Right here. And they've been with us the whole time. And I heard a loud voice saying in heaven, now has come salvation, strength, and the kingdom of our God, and the power of his Christ. For the accuser of our brethren, notice the angel calls you his brethren, because this is our family. It's a family, man, a real family. The angel called you brethren. He didn't call you just another. You're his brother. Is cast down, which accused him before our God day and night. Number 11. And they overcame him, talking about you, by the blood of the Lamb, by Jesus Christ, because when Jesus Christ died at Calvary for you, he erased, when you give it to him, he erased all the bad and grimy filth that we've done. Don't you get it? Don't you see what he did for you, man? None of us, we've all been evil, nasty, filthy. When Jesus died for you, the Father don't have to see that now unless you want him to see it. Jesus cleansed you of that. When you give it to him, he cleansed you of it. You don't have it anymore. We overcame him by the blood of the Lamb and by the word of our testimony. And they loved not their lives unto death, because with our mouth we profess the name Jesus, and in our heart we believe it, because Jesus said, out of the heart, that's what the mouth will say. And we loved our lives not unto death, because you cannot be afraid to walk the plank for Jesus. You cannot be afraid to look at these monsters in the eye and tell them, hit it and get it. If you're going to kill me, quit talking about it and let's get on to it. Because the worst they can have is your body. They can't have a spirit. 12, therefore rejoice, ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. Woe unto the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea, for the devil is come down unto you, having great wrath, because he knoweth that he hath but a short time. And sometimes it does not seem like a short time to us, but it is a short time. Number 13, and when the dragon saw that he was cast into the earth, he persecuted the woman which brought forth the man-child. He persecuted the lineage, the people that brought forth Jesus Christ. And to the woman were given 2 wings of a great eagle, that she might fly into the wilderness, into her place where she is nourished for a time, and times and half a time, from the face of the serpent. And now we get to it. Revelation 12:15. And the serpent cast out of his mouth water. And we know what water is, right? We know the water is the flood of what? People. So how did the serpent, the devil, try to destroy this woman? With a flood of people. And the serpent cast out of his mouth water as a flood after the woman, that he might cause her to be carried away of the flood, to breed you out of existence. But there's a problem. God Almighty promised his Israelites it'll never happen. Made many promises in the Old Testament. It'll never happen. You may be battered, you may be beaten, but you'll never be broken to the point to where they can have you. They can only have the body. They're not going to do away with what God created, but they sure as hell want to. 12:16, and this is when God intervenes. And the earth helped the woman, and the earth opened up her mouth and swallowed up the flood which the dragon cast out of his mouth. Now how God will do this, I don't know. Let's just be quiet, have faith, and let God do what God will do. All right? We know there's a flood. Revelation 12:17, and the dragon was wroth with the woman, with these people, because the woman is symbolic. And he went to make war with the remnant of her seed, which keep the commandments of God and have the testimony of Jesus Christ. This is why there's so much against us, against you and me. Because the devil and his children, they want to make war with the ones that really are of that seed, which love Jesus Christ and have the commandments of God. The ones who really, they know it's Jesus or death for us, man. There ain't no other way. So we're in those times. This is the reality of it. Now let's go further. I want to say something to you here now. While it is true that the vast majority of this world will be without true understanding, the Bible also says that many people will understand, prepare, and be ready. Daniel 12:10, many shall be purified and made white and tried, but the wicked shall do wickedly, and none of the wicked shall understand, but the wise shall understand. You will understand the time that you're living in, and you will prepare accordingly, spiritually, mentally, emotionally, and physically, the best that you possibly can. Now, let me take this a little bit further. The book of Psalms 58 says that these monsters were born evil. Proverbs 16:4 says the same thing. They were evil in the womb. Think about that. They were evil in the womb. But Romans 9:21 through 23, to me, hammers it home as good as it possibly can be done if you will open up your mind. It's hard, I know, but it's the truth. Because remember, God's in control of everything. Your Father is. Romans 9:21 through 23, hath not the potter power over the clay of the same lump to make one vessel unto honor and another unto dishonor? So he took these two groups, two families. One is unto honor, his children, another unto dishonor, the children of the devil. What if God, willing to show his wrath and to make his power known, endured with much long suffering the vessels of wrath fitted to destruction? That's them. They're vessels of wrath fitted to destruction. We have an adversary. And that he might make known the riches of his glory on the vessels of mercy, which he had afore prepared unto glory, because he knew you before you took your first breath. Job 1:2, and the Lord said unto Satan, behold, all that he has is in thy power, only upon himself put not forth thine hand. So Satan went forth from the presence of the Lord. Now the devil, the dragon, the serpent, he wanted to kill Job. Why? Because he hated Job. You see, the flood began a long time ago. Job was an Israelite. Job was a man after God's heart. The devil wanted him. But notice that God told him, you can do almost anything that you want for him. I mean, that you want to hurt him, but don't you touch him. Satan couldn't touch him. The devil couldn't touch him. Same thing, 2:6. And the Lord said unto Satan, behold, he is in thine hand, but save his life. So now the Father is saying, you can touch him, you can afflict him, but you cannot take his life. Why am I telling you this? Because can't nobody on this earth touch a hair on your head unless Almighty God says that they can. Nobody. How big, how rich, how powerful, how dangerous, how evil, seen, unseen, don't mean a damn thing. If the Almighty Father says, don't you touch them, can't be touched. Can't be touched. Are they going to get into a contest with the Almighty Father? I think not. And yes, you are going to be outnumbered. 10,000 to 1, man. It's going to be us against the world. We are a small flock, a small remnant. You better believe it. And you will see people, as you see now, everybody will follow everything but the truth. Everybody will follow everything but Jesus. Jesus said, follow me. They follow the devil's entertainment 24/7. Jesus said, follow me. They follow Alex Jones like he's a prophet when he works for Israel. Not the Israelites, the state of Israel. The Babylonian, the bankers. Jesus said, follow me. They follow money. Jesus said, follow me. When Obama was president, they followed him. They even called him the Messiah. And I do believe he will be back. Jesus said, follow me. White people got behind Donald Trump like he was God. I've never seen nothing like it. I know they've been beaten up, but white people actually believed that he was going to make their lives better. It shows you how desperate and how truly lost white folks have truly become. Matthew 24:22, and except those days should be shortened, and there should be no flesh be saved, but for the elect's sake, those days shall be shortened. And those days were shortened so that we may have a chance. Jesus Christ will return, and he will take on his enemies. This is a fact. Read Revelation chapter 19. I did a video about it. In closing, brethren, pray for one another. Love one another. I mean, really pray and really wake up every day, and let's try to do the best that we can to love our Father and to love Jesus. Everything that's going on in this world is for a reason. I've told you before, I use the analogy of a river. It's a mighty river that's flowing fast, man. Jesus Christ is the log. Just grab hold and just go. Don't try to swim. Don't try to make it to shore. Don't try to fight. Simply hold on and trust him. And just let it take you where he's going to take you. And love him. And love one another. I've never told you to hate nobody. Don't hate nobody, man, because they're black, because they're white, because they're different. Try to be like Jesus. Try to love folks. And if you can't love them, stay the hell away from them. The name of my website, your website, the website for Jesus Christ and our Father, is flockofjesus.com. May the Father bless each and every one of you. I love you all. And Jesus, I love you and I thank you. In Jesus' mighty name, I love you, Father, and I love you, Jesus. And I pray for all my brethren on this channel. I pray for all of them, Father. Please bless them and keep them close. In Jesus' mighty name, Father. Amen.